Okay, so we're gonna go over some knee on belly positional details, doing a couple of videos over this, but this one's gonna be over misconceptions, okay? I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for 17 years at this point. Have trained with some of the best people, some of the best black belts. And just recently got to work with Chris Howder, did a private lesson with him, and have done a seminar also with him on this position. And a lot of people have a misconception. Like when I started really, looking at this position, I was like, okay, I've been doing it wrong, right? And then a lot of people I still know still do it the way I'm about to talk about, but I want to talk about why I don't do it that way anymore, more than anything, okay? So Michael's laying down here, and this, I think, prevents people's development too, because I'm gonna think about stapling my knee right here, right in the soft spot of his belly, right beneath his sternum. You can do sternum too, but what I'm looking for here when I do this is pain compliance, right? He's gonna be like, people like to think about knee on belly as a position to tap someone, and I believe that this is the sole reason for people trying to control right here, okay? So if I wanted to be like super rude, I can just draw Michael up like a bow and tap him with a compression of his ribs if I'm, wanting to. It's not super hard to do, but you're not stable when you do it, okay? So when the knee is not all the way across, that's the issue, okay? Even if I hook the hip here, it's still an issue because there's slack in my foot, okay? So if there's any slack there, Michael can reach in and grab that foot and start sitting me down, exposing my heel if there's heel hooks, right? So that's a really, a glaring hole in this positional control, okay? So we're gonna really dive into where we put our knee in other videos, but I'm just gonna highlight it right here. Don't put the knee here. We go on this line, it needs to go all the way across here, right? You feel how much more control I have there? And see if you can get my heel out, right? A lot harder to deal with. And it didn't feel good either, all right? And then too, if I go right here, you just move around like in a circle, and I'm gonna try and follow you. That's kind of what I just did here, right? So, bam. Almost always when you do even a good escape, like that wasn't a bad escape, right? It was good for that kid, but when we're teaching, 4 or 5 different escapes right now, and when you do a really good escape, people stand up, their knee comes on the ground, or if you do a really good job, they sit down, right? And, that happens a lot more when you put the knee here. It's a lot easier to ride and control with the knee all the way across, and we're hooking the hip here. So people hook the hip, but they won't put their knee all the way across, and I get all that slack in my foot. Even though I'm hooking his hip, he can still reach in and grab the heel. The heel's exposed. So here, right, even though the heel's exposed, I get a lot more connection, a lot more control, and I can move when he moves. So that's just some misconceptions. I've talked with several black belts like, hey, why do people do it the way I was taught how to do it? And they're just like, people chasing that submission, right? More than anything, it's like, I'm gonna make you comply to my pain type of a deal. But, it'll work when somebody's tired or, not ready for it. There's some context there, but it's like people base, the whole position around that, and that's not the way to play. So some common misconceptions there on your knee on belly.